mission, mama on a mission, mama on a mission for a better life.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Denise and I am the writer of the blog Mum on a Mission for a Better Life. If you'd like to find out a bit more about who I am, please have a look at the video I made. That's my hello, who I am video, to let everyone know who I am, what I'm doing and what I'm all about. So, lovely to have you here. Today I am doing a what was a YouTube tag called the hardest thing about being a mum tag, because in the UK it will be Mother's Day in a couple of weeks, so I thought it would be a really good time to do something nice about the kids. So here we go. So I knew that, having a baby, once it was born, that I was going to love my child, but I did not realise how much from the moment, literally the moment that I got to hold my baby Lauren in my arms, who was my first, I never realised the instant love that I would have, the protection that I want to, I would fight anybody, I'd do anything, I'd die for this child. And it really surprised me, and it also really surprised me how much I would reflect on my own childhood. I didn't think that being a mother was going to sort of do that, but it brought up a lot of issues and stuff from when I was growing up, and the differences between myself and my mother. So yeah, it was quite I didn't expect any of that, but it's just amazing really, isn't it, being a mum? We're privileged, to those of us that can, we are privileged. Wow, where do I start? Well, so much. I mean, obviously not every day is perfect, and it can be really, really hard being a mum, I'm not gonna lie, but it is the best job ever. You're seeing these amazing children grow from these tiny little bundles of joy into fully grown adults. I have 2 fully grown beautiful women daughters, and Faith is 12 now, she's on her way to adulthood, and watching that, the little baby turn into a person, and knowing that you've helped make that person be who they are, and seeing how wonderful they are, that is, the best thing I think about being a mum. And of course, all the hugs and loves and special times that you get to have being a mum, you know that 99% of the time, that there's unconditional love and it goes both ways. So yeah, it's lovely being a mummy. I think, everyone always says, oh, no one wrote a book about being a parent. Actually, I think several million people have written books about being parents. However, none of them have all the answers. So if I could change something, it would be lovely if I could have been given a book on how to parent each of my children. Because the thing is, people think that you parent everybody the same, but you don't, because nobody's the same. All 3 of my children are certainly different to each other, and if I was to parent them all exactly the same, then that wouldn't work. You have to parent them to who they are. And so if I was given a book on the day they were born saying, this book is for you to take home, and it will tell you all the answers on how to be a perfect parent to Lauren, and then when I had Chloe, they gave me a Chloe book, and when I had Faith, they gave me a Faith book, that would be brilliant. But you can't change that, because that's never going to happen. That's something that's unrealistic. And I suppose part of the fun of being a parent is finding out who your children are, and working out ways that you can make things better. I mean, I think Faith's lucky, definitely, being my last child. She's definitely got the best end of the deal, because obviously when you have your first child, you don't know what you're doing, and it's a bit like experimenting, not in a mean way, but you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I was much younger back then as well. Chloe was right behind Lauren. There's only a year and 4 months between the two, so she had a very similar upbringing to Lauren. But then Faith came along 10 years later, when I was much older and more mature, and I'd learnt a lot of lessons from parenting those 2. So she's got the much more placid and understanding mum, I suppose, than the other 2 had. But I'm digressing from the question. So if I could change anything, apart from having a magic book that would tell me what to do correctly, the only other thing I would change would be to know the answer on how you can stop children's attitude, because that is something that I really struggle with. Now, I know that people should be able to really express themselves however they see fit, but I do struggle with attitude, and it's certainly a lot worse in my youngest than it was in my older two. Lauren was never really that much of an attitudey child. Chloe could be quite bad once she hit the teenage years. I've had attitude off my little Faith since sort of about age 3. So yeah, that's something I do struggle with being a parent. But all we can do is grit our teeth and try and rise above it. I hope that I'm very different, because I love my mum, and I wouldn't wish her any harm at all. I'm sure that she felt at the time how she raised me was the best she could do and was the right thing to do. However, I didn't feel very loved or accepted or wanted as a child, and I made it my mission to make sure that my kids never felt that, because it was pretty pants to feel that way. So I made sure that I was way more loving than my mother had ever been, much more accepting. I try and put myself in my child's shoes, and I don't want to be the disciplinarian. I want to be more down to earth and realistic, because no one's perfect. I'm certainly not perfect, so I can't expect my children to be perfect either. So I think I'm very different to my mother, but all my mum did her best, and I wouldn't wish any harm on her. I'm not saying she did anything on purpose to be mean in any way, but we're all different, like I was saying earlier. So yeah, and I've made sure that my children know that I'm always there for them, even when they're 50. They can come to me if they need anything, because I wouldn't want them to feel that they haven't got someone to turn to. I think the most difficult part, of being a mum for me, personally, has been the fact that I've had depression on and off for most of my life. When I had Lauren, I was diagnosed with postnatal depression. So then that went, but then I became depressed again, and then that went, and I got chronic fatigue syndrome, which then brought on depression again. And I've now been told that I'm probably going to be on medication for life, because it's the only way that we can seem to manage the depression, which is not ideal, but it's make the best of it is what I think, and at least I'm managing it now. But that has been tough, when you're in the despair of depression. It's very difficult to put anybody before yourself, because you've got nothing to give. There's nothing there for you to give to anybody, and then having children, and you've somehow got to find something for them, because you can't not do for your children. That has been the hardest, managing my depression while bringing up a family, but it's got a lot better over the last sort of 10 years, I'd say. No, I wouldn't say that long. I'd say probably about the last 7 or 8 years. It's got a lot better, because I've found the right medication, and I know more how to manage my depression now. But that for me has definitely been the most difficult part of motherhood. Oh well, I wish I could give you all some really solid advice that's going to make things perfectly wonderful for you guys out there, but unfortunately that's not the case. I think my best advice or words of wisdom for you guys, or anyone out there that's become a parent, or is a parent, is 2 things actually. One is you can never love your child too much. I know many years ago there was a lot of silliness about you mustn't cuddle your child too much, because it'll make them spoil. You can't spoil a child with love. You can spoil them with materialistic things, which you shouldn't do, I don't think. But when it comes to love, you can't spoil your child with love. Give them love, hug them every day, tell them how proud you are of them. From everything they do, make them know that you've noticed it and they are important to you, and they don't need to be acting in a negative way to get your attention, because you're on it and your attention's there, and they feel loved, they feel special, and they know that you've got their back. That is the biggest piece of advice. The second piece of advice is that if your child is doing something that you don't want them to, acting in a way that you think is, you know, naughty or disrespectful, or you just don't understand their point of view, try and remember what it was like to be a child yourself, and put yourself in their shoes and think to yourself, you know, how would I feel if I really wanted to go to a party and I was being told no? Or how would I feel if I'd asked a question and I was told no, and when I asked them why, they got really angry, the person got really angry at me and said, you know, because I said so. I would be outraged if it was me. So try and put yourself in the child's shoes, and it will help you realise that sometimes actually it's you that needs to change a bit and not your child. So that brings me to the end of this Mother's Day inspired YouTube tag. I hope you've enjoyed my rambles about being a mum, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you've got any comments, please do leave them below and let me know what you think. Do you agree with me, or are you outraged by what I've said? Let me know. I'd love to talk and connect with you guys. Also, if you've enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more of this fantastic content. Also, if you'd like to follow me on socials, that would be great, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye!